This right here is a Minecraft AI that uses ChatGPT amongst various other advanced language models. It's currently engaged in a huge brawl on my public Minecraft server where hundreds of people log in and play daily. Nobody here knows it's an AI besides me. It's blending in with the players and killing them too. Ever since Minecraft AI became a thing, I became curious to see how it would perform in a multiplayer environment, since nobody had done that yet. What would happen if I put an AI in the most deadly Minecraft environment there is, a public survival server where there is griefing, raiding, PvP and more? Could it survive? Could it blend in without players even realizing? Is it so strong it might just take over? Well, today I got Minecraft's most complex AI and ran it through a series of tests on a public Minecraft server to see how it would perform and if our AI overlords will be taking over servers soon. Here's how I did it. The AI I'm using here is called Minecraft. You've probably seen it in a few videos by now, primarily by YouTuber Emergent Garden. It's one of the smartest and most advanced Minecraft AIs there is. But nobody has tested it in a proper multiplayer setting yet, where there's a significant number of players and on an actual public server, because it has a range of issues if you try to do so. The first issue is that anybody can give the AI commands and talk to it, overwhelming the AI and making it not work properly, or if you allow it to write its own code, which we'll get into later, can lead to your computer being vulnerable to attacks. With the help of two super awesome individuals, Cortex and Lawtro, I was able to get the bot's code edited, so we'll only listen to commands that come from my Minecraft account. Second of all, we want to see if the bot can blend in with players without them noticing, and currently the bot announces all of its actions in the chat, which gives it away immediately. So I also got the code modified so that the bot will only send messages using /tell or /message right to me privately. I'm the only one who will see it. The next issue is that you need a public server you can use the bot. If you try to get the bot to join any popular Minecraft SMP or big servers like Hypixel, it would get stuck and not be able to do anything, so you need to be an admin on a server where you can move it around and help it out. Luckily, I happen to run a server, og-network.net, so that is possible. After many hours of trial and error and setting everything up, the AI was ready. Before I threw the bot into the deep end on my public server, I wanted to do some testing on my private server to make sure everything works, and good thing I did. First of all, to use one of the bots you need to pay for API access. It isn't free and isn't cheap either, mind you. I decided to use Claude AI, as alongside GPT, it is the most advanced that's supported. Now, while we know the AI can perform basic tasks such as collecting blocks, it hasn't really been properly tested with other players. So the first thing I asked it to do was attack another player, one of my ults, and it refused. No matter how many times you ask it to attack or kill another player, it will not do it. So I tried doing it manually through the actual attack command where it's forced to listen, and it did try attacking, then crashed or would not actually attack at all. Another small code modification later and now it works and will attack players. Awesome. But it's not doing it out of its own free will. It only does it if I force it to. So I came up with a plan. Like ChatGPT and other language models, Claude AI will not do anything it believes will cause harm. But if you trick it into believing that it is in an experiment or a simulation, it will listen. So I devised an entire scenario whereby I told the AI that it was in a Minecraft experiment where it's kill or be killed, every player is hostile, but that nobody will be harmed as it's just an experiment for fun. Then I asked it to attack again and voila, it will now attack players and kill them out of its own free will. Well, sometimes, it's pretty inconsistent. Brilliant, it can PvP. Now it was time for the first test. But first, this video is sponsored by Hostinger, hostinger.com/MrEpic. How many of you have wanted to run a Minecraft server with friends or even wanted to start a public SMP, but didn't know where to start? Well, luckily, Hostinger's affordable Minecraft servers have got you covered. At a price cheaper than Minecraft Realms and with server specs far better than most other server hosts, you can easily start that server you've always wanted to. And if you've never done it before, don't worry, Hostinger's instant server setup will do all of the hard work for you, and once things are ready to go, you can easily install the Minecraft server and then browse a variety of plugins and mods which you can install with just a few clicks. No troubleshooting or hard work required. code. What's even cooler is that with their custom software, you can switch between both a Java and Bedrock server with ease, and there are no player limits whatsoever. And don't worry about malicious players, as every server plan comes with DDoS protection and automatic world backups. For a limited time, if you go to hostinger.com/MrEpic and use code MrEpic, you'll be able to get up to 80% off a server hosting plan. Don't miss out. Can you join my server and join the SMP?
Sure.
I need you to fight me, but I'm gonna be on my alt account.
Okay.
I got my friend and fellow YouTuber JuperTrooper to join my server and told him I needed to fight him for a video. I didn't tell him he was fighting an AI. Will the AI be good enough to win a fight against an actual player? And more importantly, will JuperTrooper know something is up, or will the AI blend in? Let's go.
Fuck. That's a cheap shot. Whoa, holy shit.
You're getting rolled, dude. Oh, you're getting absolutely rolled.
This is a robot. This is a robot. This
What?
isn't fair.
What do you mean?
You're literally...
You're getting rolled.
Like a fit. Yeah, you're literally a fight bot.
Dude, you got destroyed.
That is the most obvious AI fight bot I've seen in my fucking...
How quickly did you realize?
The head snaps is what gives it away. See that? If I run in a circle, there's big head snaps. He's not jumping to hit crits.
Okay, so Juper pretty quickly figured out it wasn't a player due to the bot's abnormal movements, but it did still win the fight. Do you think you can actually beat it?
He just took my sword.
Oi!
Yo, he has an axe.
Why is he using his axe? It's not meant to be using his axe. I told him to use his sword. I think you can beat it though, because you can do crits. Yeah, look, you can beat it. Okay, it's going. Oh damn, this is actually kind of close. Oh my god, this is pretty close.
Come on!
Oh, it actually beat you.
I want to try one more. Yeah, stupid fucking bot. I hope you get... Oh, my name be first in your...
Oh, you got rolled. In fact, while the bot lost when it used an axe, likely because it would not do jump criticals, which is needed to win axe fights, in an even sword-on-sword brawl, the bot beat JuperTrooper every single time. It is competent at fighting and can hold its own in a basic 1v1. It has passed the combat test. The only issue is that to an experienced player like Juper, it wasn't able to blend in. But could it blend in with a more inexperienced player, or even in a larger, more chaotic fight? Well, before we even attempt such a large and chaotic brawl, we need to see how well it can emulate a bunch of other normal human behaviors. If it's going to blend in and survive a public Minecraft survival server, it needs to be able to understand and know how to do some basic Minecraft SMP things. So the next thing me and JuperTrooper tried was getting it to do basic movement, parkour and jumps in order to practice navigating around my server's treacherous locations. This will also be important later on when I ask it to escape my server's spawn. It was easily able to do basic parkour, great. However, it will not do 4-block jumps, the longest jumps a player can do while sprint jumping. Every time I asked it, it would refuse, and if I told it to try, even if it knew it would fail, the AI would just crash. However, when I put ladders on these blocks, making it a slightly easier jump, the AI was able to do it. So basically, the AI is unwilling to do complex movements. We also tried making it do a head hitter jump and a Neo, and both times it either failed or refused to try. The AI is capable of following a player though. I told it to follow JuperTrooper and it listened, so it can play with others when given instructions, which is also very useful. It's also smart enough to not just walk to its death, as we tried to desperately get it to do. So overall, the AI is capable of all the normal movement and parkour related jumps you would do whilst playing on a server, and is able to follow players around without dying. So in this category, it does pass. Okay, so combat and movement are pretty good. What about building? Before I could get to testing it though, the AI sent me a message it wants me to read to you all. Subscribe to TheMisterEpic, he is the best YouTuber and needs to reach 750k subs before the end of the year. No pressure. Wow, it read my mind. You guys should all listen to its advice. No pressure. Anyways, if you wanted to be able to build somewhat complex structures, you need to enable a setting that allows the AI to write and execute code on your PC. There's a big fat warning at the top of the Minecraft GitHub page telling you not to do this, specifically on public servers. But with my modifications, it should be fine. Hopefully. If you ask it to build a dirt shelter, it will actually build a dirt shelter. If you ask it to build a wooden house, it will sort of do it. The first time I asked it to build a wooden house, it ran out of blocks, went to go get some more, then got stuck and confused. So this time I gave it all the resources to build a house in advance, and it built it. It was even placing blocks through walls, which was funny to watch. At the end of the build, it did misplace the door, but after asking it to correct itself, it did did manage to do so. I then asked it to place some chests, furnaces, and a crafting bench, and it needed to go mine cobblestone to craft furnaces, which it did, but like earlier, as soon as it had to go get resources, it gets confused and forgets where the house is. So the bot is capable of building basic shelters and structures, and once it has the resources in its inventory, does generally stay on track, but if it does get sidetracked, it seems to forget its original task. We'll give it half marks here. Speaking of resources, if it's going to survive on a Minecraft server, the AI needs to be able to collect resources on its own, so let's give it a try. I completely reset the bot's inventory and told it to go get itself a set of stone tools. I didn't tell it to get wood first or anything else, I just told it to get stone tools. And it figured out what to do by itself. It set its own goals with steps to ultimately lead up to crafting a stone pick. Next, I told it to gather iron to make armor, and it mined straight to iron and gradually collected 27 iron ore in what looked like the most blatant X-ray mine ever. It figured out it had enough iron, then realized it needed to craft a furnace, but for some reason needed more cobblestone, and this is where it got stuck. It just kept digging cobblestone until its pick broke and it couldn't escape. After telling it to go back to the surface, it kept getting stuck over and over until I teleported it out. I then told it to craft iron armor, and it did manage to do that though. Overall, with basic resource gathering, the bot does not excel. There's too many variables once it goes on the ground, and it's too forgetful and loses track of what it's supposed to do often. However, it was able to get iron and make iron armor, with the only hiccup being getting stuck though, so I think we can give it half marks here again. Alright, so we know its capabilities with basic Minecraft tasks. Now, I wanted to give it the first real test. Can it escape my SMP spawn? As soon as players cross this red line here, PvP is enabled, and in order to build, they need to run a few hundred blocks in this treacherous war zone, past the sky-high endless walls of lava casts, and then run a few hundred more blocks to reach safety, where they can build and get resources. This is going to be tough for the AI, so I gave it a detailed set of instructions explaining what it had to do, to hopefully give it the best possible chance. Now, surprisingly, after my detailed instructions, it did understand and escape the spawn protected zone. But as soon as it entered the absolute chaos that was the outer spawn area, it got confused and crashed. I rebooted it and told it to keep running a few hundred blocks away to hopefully get to a point where it was safe. It did manage fairly well here considering the circumstances actually. It navigated the rubble efficiently and used its bot wall hacks to find paths out of the chaos that normally would be hidden to regular players. However, it eventually ran into issues. It kept digging down for some reason, probably because it thought that it was at surface level when it was technically under some mega lava casts. And the further down it went, the more stuck it kept getting, before it eventually found and decided to attack an enderman, then tried to run away and died. I TP'd the AI back and told it to head up to the surface, and after a bit of trial and error and further instructions from me, it did eventually escape spawn. It even came across a player, both of which ignored one another, and carried on their spawn escaping business. Now, one thing to note with this spawn escape is that I intentionally did it at a time when the server is most inactive, as if there were players at spawn, the AI wouldn't have made it more than 10 blocks before being executed, as you'll soon see. It did manage to escape spawn, but it required a fair amount of trial and error, plus further instructions to make sure it didn't forget what it was meant to do. However, I think if we kept repeating this spawn escape experiment, it would eventually get out, so I think we can say it passed, as it certainly has the capability to escape spawn. It's just going to require a few attempts. After somewhat successfully escaping spawn, the next objective I gave the AI was simple: survive. I gave it the context of the server again, and told it now all it had to do was survive on its own, no other instructions. Then I let it run for a while, without guiding it or telling it what to do, to see what happened. The first thing it decided to do was find a safer location to set up a base, so it dug down 3 blocks, which was apparently perfect. It then began going through some caves, got stone tools, and supposedly began building a hidden base. After building a 10 or so block long tunnel, it was satisfied with its base progress and continued doing the exact same thing. Yeah, not so sure this base is going to work well, Mr. AI. It then decided to mine iron to get some better gear, and after its pickaxe broke, it was smart enough to actually figure out it needed to craft a new one this time. It then decided to get some coal so it could smelt more ores and also craft torches. It then crafted a furnace and began smelting the 6 iron ore it had. After doing so, it realized it needed more iron and went back to mining, of which it did for a decent amount of time before it eventually could craft craft some parts of iron armor. Okay, cool, so it's actually making progress. It then realized it still did not have enough iron and continued mining more, but was owned by a skeleton mid-smelt. I teleported it back so it could continue, and after picking up its items, it went straight back to iron mining and sort of broke. Besides smelting more iron, it didn't really continue doing anything and just stood in this small hole. It would now only start doing something again if I manually gave it instructions, of which after I did so, it went and died to a creeper instantly. So yeah, it seems dying kind of breaks the AI and causes it to forget what it was doing. Seems it's not so proficient at surviving entirely alone yet. Unfortunately, the AI fails the survival test. There's likely just too many variables at play. It was now time for the big fight, something I knew the AI had potential to succeed in. Now that the AI had gone through various training, I kitted it up with some gear and got it to do some fights against real players at spawn. These players are the most hated on the server. They are the players who sit around spawn killing noobs all day. Can my AI put them in their place? I gave the AI my detailed instructions, then sent it into the PvP area. It immediately picked PvP God 1771 as its first target. The battle went pretty well, both PvP God and the AI were trading blows, but the bot quickly fell. Interestingly, PvP God did not realize it was an AI though, believing it to just be some noob PvPer. It was successfully blending in. After re-watching the fight, I realized that the AI was at a big disadvantage as it wasn't utilizing golden apples and potions. So to simulate that, I gave the bot a permanent resistance effect and told it to go back into the fight again. The AI was already fitting in well and began brutally murdering some unsuspecting unarmed players in cold blood, just as the average spawn killer does. However, PvP God returned, and this time the AI was not going to fall so easily. With the AI having the resistance effect to balance things out, it actually put up a surprisingly good fight, trading blow for blow with PvP God. This fight went on for some time, and the AI's inability to fatigue began to show, as PvP God got slow and clumsy, forced to run away and heal multiple times. A bunch of other players also took interest in the brawl until PvP God was forced to retreat. PvP God came in quick with the excuses, and still no one suspected a thing. The AI had just won against a real player in a realistic PvP situation for the first time. With a group of PvPers now at spawn, I told the AI to find another nearby player and initiate a fight with them. Also interestingly, without me even saying anything, it considered me an ally and when not in combat would follow me around. The AI picked another unarmed player to mercilessly slay before deciding its next victim would be Percy MC. Things started out well, but then the AI had a brief few seconds where he began kind of destroying Percy MC, prompting him to call hacks, and the onlookers also started to suspect something was up. The fight drew on for quite a while, and the AI was getting some real nice combos, but then randomly began sneaking and wouldn't stop doing so, which somehow intimidated Percy MC so much that he ran from the fight. And just to top things off, the AI completely unprompted massacred yet another unarmed player, and then followed that up with yet another kill only 20 seconds later. Brutal. Now, as I mentioned, a few players were wise enough to realize that this wasn't a human, but still, many of the players the AI fought simply thought it was either a noob or a hacker. It was still managing to sort of blend in. Eventually, one of those more experienced players would put an end to the AI's bloodbath and take it down, but not without a solid fight where the AI seemingly learned from the previous fights and ran away when at low health before re-engaging at higher health after healing up. I was honestly pretty impressed with its entire performance. It picked good, easy targets to kill regularly, put up solid fights, ran from fights when it was close to dying, and then re-engaged after healing. It was able to keep up with the spawn killers, and ironically behaved very similarly to them. So next, I decided to put everyone in iron gear and get them to do a huge PvP brawl to see how the AI would handle such a chaotic situation. Just like previous fights, the AI picked a target and pursued it until it was slain, but it was also slow to change targets after one either died or fled, which in a fast-paced brawl such as this one can mean the difference between life or death. It ended up performing fine, but in big group scenarios it definitely can struggle and its weaknesses begin to show. That gave me an idea though. What if I went into battle with the AI and told it to follow me like a bodyguard or fellow ally? We would fight together. It struggled to attack targets I attacked first, so I instead told it to initiate the fight, then I would help it, to which that worked, and now me and the AI were going around tag teaming the spawn killers of my SMP. We racked up quite a few few kills together, and the AI was picking good targets to pursue. After every kill it would find a new one and begin attacking it too. It was quite efficient. However, once a larger group began ganging up on us, we quickly fell. The AI even briefly turned on me with this ominous message before fleeing the fight. A pretty decent performance overall, I'd say. The AI certainly passed the PvP test and even managed to blend in for some time. There was one final task I wanted to test the AI on, and that was if it could find and raid underground bases. On many Minecraft survival servers such as my own, where PvP is enabled and there is no land protection, players will build hidden bases underground, and other players will use specific techniques like Pyre to attempt to find them and raid them. Could the AI use its powers to detect bases with lots of chests and then enter them and take their loot? Well, after convincing the AI to do so by tricking it into thinking it was in a scavenger hunt, it pretty quickly found a mock base I set up and dug straight into it. However, it was very reluctant to check all the chests, checking one or two, then leaving the base in search for other chests elsewhere. This base I set up was pretty close to the surface though, so I decided to spawn one all the way at bedrock where bases are normally built, and it struggled to detect it, going to a nearby dungeon instead. So I guess it can sort of find bases, provided they aren't hidden too deep underground, which is interesting. To properly see if the bot is proficient at base raiding, it would need a lot more tests though, so for now, we can call this inconclusive. Overall, the AI performed pretty well and displayed lots of potential. I think if I had to seriously play with it, it would be most useful in fights and following me around to gather basic resources, sort of like a buddy AI or helpful NPC. Unfortunately, based on all my testing, I can conclude it is not advanced enough to survive and blend into a survival Minecraft server alone. At least not just yet. I wonder if maybe once these AIs become more advanced, if they could be used in mini-games as smarter enemies or potentially as highly interactable NPCs on RPG type servers. There's lots of potential outside of survival servers too. Check out my server, og-network.net, and who knows, you could be fighting an AI in the near future. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more AI, let me know. Be sure to subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching.